Hello everyone, Tina here. I hope you're having a lovely day. Thanks so much for joining me. Today we are going to create a card using the Spellbinders Small Die of the Month Club Kit for August 2020. This month's club kit is neat because it has the full alphabet in here and smaller letters, so you can create your own customizable sentiments. This month's kit is called Sitting Pretty, and it's so unique and very, to me, I've seen this and I thought, okay, this is very earthy. And I think when I think earthy cards, I think get well cards or sympathy cards. So I thought we'd make a be well card today, since we can customize our sentiment. Now, even though I'm not going to use all of the dies this month, I did want to die cut them out for you and show you what they look like. So I have three different shades of gray cardstock. I have Tin Pail, Riverstone, and then I have Rock Candy. And I kind of wanted to use some grays for my card to keep it on the natural side. But I die cut out everything, and you can see how unique and decorative these are. So pretty. At first I thought you could layer all three of these together, but I don't think they're meant to layer. But the alphabet die set is small enough to fit on the inside. And then there's also this little flower that you can layer together and put on the inside of each of these decorative elements. Well, I suppose you could layer them if you wanted to, but I think they're pretty on their own. And then there is a center like medallion that's the perfect size if you wanted to create a pattern around it. But I'm just layering my little flower together here and putting it on top of one of my little pieces to show you how pretty that is. But you can see you could layer around your little medallion there, but so pretty and very unique. I just love this. Okay, now here's your alphabet. Oh no, here's what I'm actually going to create with this die here. I die cut out 7 with my Riverstone cardstock, which is a medium gray cardstock. I needed 7 to create the pattern that I wanted to, and so here's what they look like. Super pretty. And if you wanted to create like a circle pattern, you could. And oh, I want to tell you guys that over at the Spellbinder shop they have a downloadable template that you could use to create the purple wreath or circle pattern. This is what it looks like. It's one pattern on top here for an A2 size, and then 4 1/4, 5 1/2, and then you have one on the bottom that's 4 1/2 by 4 1/2. So if you want to make a square circle on a square card, there's a template for that too. But you could just line them up however you want them, and then kind of use that as a guide for overlapping and linking them together, which I think is so neat when they're linked together. And you can alternate each different decorative element die if you wanted to, but even the same one is so pretty. If you were to continue this circle, you can see how pretty of a pattern this would be. So this is downloadable over at the Spellbinder shop, and I'll leave a link down below if you guys want to check that out as well. It's nice to have, you know, especially with your dies. This is your alphabet. It's perfect size to create a sentiment, which is nice. And that's where I thought we would make a Be Well card. So I die cut out enough letters to spell Be Well. And what I'm going to do, I have a 1/2 inch strip of the Tin Pail cardstock. I added some glue, just scribbled it on the release paper of some of my foam squares, and then I'm just dipping my letters in there and then adding them, using the bottom edge as a guide to keep them straight. I'm just going to spell out the words Be Well. Now my 1/2 inch strip was a little too tall, so I do end up trimming that down after I have my sentiment set where I wanted it. I put it a little bit towards the left, and I did that intentional. I think it would be nice to offset it a bit. But after trimming it down, our sentiment's ready to go. And then I wanted to bring in a little extra color besides the gray cardstock. So I have a piece of Strathmore Bristol Smooth here. I'm going to use some Distress Oxide ink. This is Twisted Citron. It's a very bright, bold green. And I'm going to add some color to the very top. If you have a bright green or a neon green, I would say cardstock, you could do the same exact thing. You wouldn't have to use your oxide inks. But I wanted a strip of this also, so I'm going around the edge here. But I'm going to take that same die, and I'm going to die cut out the same amount with the green here. So I'm going to take my decorative die that we die cut out with Riverstone, the mid-tone gray cardstock, and die cut out 7 with the green and a strip. So once I have everything die cut out here, we're ready to go. I want to add a little green accent right below my sentiment. So I'm using my glue and adding my sentiment just above the green here. I think the bright green and the gray is a neat color combination. So the sentiment's ready to go. We'll trim that when we have our panel ready to go. And I wanted to bring in a little added color. So I kept all the inside pieces when I die cut this one out. And I actually got a little smudge on there. I want to erase it. But I thought we'd bring in a little bit of a color gradient using my peacock feathers. So I'm going to use a blending tool and just add a little bit of color towards the bottom of the inside piece here, and kind of blending towards the top. And so we just have a little bit of a gradient color. I think it's going to look really good. I'm actually going to inlay that piece back in, but I'm not going to use the green. I'm actually going to add a little dimension with the green piece. Mainly I die cut this out for the center, but I'm actually going to create a little dimension by layering my gray right on top of the green outline piece. So again, I'm going to scribble on my little release paper here, add a little bit of glue behind the gray, and then I'll line it up. This, if you want to do this more than once for a little added dimension, you could, but I think 2 is working out great. I need to punch out this little hole here. So the gray's on top, and then I think the contrast between the gray and the greens are going to be really pretty. I'm going to glue all of my gray to the greens, so they're ready to go. And again, I have 7 of these to create my little pattern. Okay, all these are layered. Now I'm going to bring in a piece of cardstock that's a little bit smaller than my card base. I just trimmed it down with my paper trimmer, and it's just regular white cardstock. I'm going to create a pattern by adding 4 upside down on this panel, and some of the right and left are going to be overhanging, but that's okay. I'm just making sure that the 2 in the center are 2 in the middle are centered, and then they're evenly spaced. I want to kind of create a pattern, and I didn't want it to be lopsided. So once I'm happy with that, I'm going to take the other 3 and flip them around and put them on the very top, kind of creating a unique pattern here. We'll put these 3. To me, they kind of looked like leaves after I did the green and the grays, and I think it's just turned out perfect for my Be Well card. Okay, I did use glue and adhered them to my panel. Next one I'm going to do is go ahead and inlay my distressed pieces. You could use glue if you wanted, but I think less messy, I'm going to use my tape runner. So add a little adhesive behind each one of these, and I'm just going to inlay all of them together. And I think that pattern is so pretty. Now for my sentiment, I'm going to trim off the excess that's hanging over here. You know what? I changed my mind. I think I'm going to add a little bit of the peacock feathers on the bottom of this panel. When I added the peacock feathers to my twisted citron, it turned to a real bright, vibrant green. And then when I'm adding it to the bottom here, it's very blue. So I'm pulling in some of that twisted citron that's on my little mat here, and creating a little bit more of a green tone. On camera it looks really blue, but the colors do look a little bit, well, you'll see in the close-ups, it kind of blends a little bit nicer when you add a little bit more of that green to it. But I'll trim off the excess here, and then we're going to end up flipping over our sentiment, and I'm going to add some foam adhesive behind it, and then we are going to place that on the very bottom, just making sure it's straight here. I'm going to use my scissors, and my decorative elements that are overhanging we're going to trim off left and right here, and then I'm going to flip over my panel, and we are going to add foam adhesive behind this, and then this is going to go on a white card base that's standard size, which is A2. We're just making sure it's going to be centered, and it's a pretty simple card, but I think it's very natural. All I'm going to do for bells and whistles is add some Nouveau crystal drops. This is simply white, and I'm adding a few dots just above the decorative element on the inside of my die cut piece, and then I did add it to the very top where the hole was. I added a dot just for a little added dimension. But that's my project today, guys, using the Spellbinders Small Die of the Month Club Kit called Sitting Pretty. If you're interested in the club kit, links are below. But have a great day. I hope this gives you some inspiration. We will see you very soon. Bye-bye.